Great. With this, we are going to move on to the last paper for this segment, and this is by Team Bias and Leapfrog, themed Designing for Digital Inclusion, a multidisciplinary model for transforming digital payments app. Welcome.
Hi everyone, thank you. So more often than not, we are being asked this question like, why is it for people like you and I, it's very intuitive to use apps and join apps, whereas for some people it is very difficult to operate, as difficult as making a rocket engine. Hi, my name is Varun Arora,
And I'm Manan Pava.
and we would like to share a multidisciplinary approach which can transform digital payment apps and make these apps much more intuitive, especially for people who are not as tech savvy as you and I. Clicker. So we started with a design audit for digital payment apps, and we learned three broad things. One was these apps were heavily relying on English as a language. And when we switched it to regional language, still there was a English snippets in these apps all across. Secondly, it needed a degree of tech savviness to approach. And last but not the least, these apps relied heavily on users' instructions and command to operate for it. Shouldn't be other way around?
You are right, Varun. He's my boss, so I have to agree to him. Okay, so on a serious note, so let's see who are these users we are talking about. Okay, so for this pilot, we defined them as people who are comfortable only in their native language and have limited exposure to digital payments apps. These are people who have adopted, who are yet to adopt or are adopting digital payments apps. Their schooling was in their regional language. They studied till 8th or 10th grade and have limited proficiency in reading. Most of them migrated to urban areas in search of better livelihood. They are masons, painters, drivers, and house helps. So, using this innovative methodology in user experience research, we can help digital payment sector solve for the next billion users. Let us take you through what we did. As you can see here, it was a 4-step process where we started with developing the design framework. For this, instead of going the conventional route of usability testing using qualitative insights, we opted for a 3-module multidisciplinary approach. A quantitative usability test, followed by real-time qualitative probing and semiotic audit. We applied this approach to conduct a pilot study. This approach helped us overcome mainly 5 limitations. First, the quantitative usability test helped us overcome the researcher's subjectivity. Second, it enabled objective measurement using metrics such as success rate of the task, time taken by users, misclicks, usability score, and ease of doing the task. Third, testing real apps poses privacy concerns. No one wants to give away their personal information and financial information. So we simulated the app environment, by which I mean we created a replica or a near real experience of these apps so respondents could perform without the fear of privacy. Fourth, because the analysis was done in real time, we could tackle memory lapse of respondents by doing the qualitative probing right after they performed the task. And fifth, micro touchpoints like semantics and iconography usually is overlooked by designers when they're designing the apps. The semiotics module helped in understanding that. The pilot study enabled us to create design strategies, which guided the design solution and which was tested, where the improvement metrics were compared with the baseline metrics. So we opted for 2 most used digital payments apps, like the ones which you and I use the most, made their replicas, and they were given to users to perform 2 main tasks. One, onboarding, which is a mandatory process to join and use digital payments app. What we saw was it took a minimum of 3 minutes to onboard a digital payments app. In another case, it took a total of 5 minutes to do so. Nearly half of the users failed to complete the task, and while 1/4 got dropped out in the case of the second app. The second task, which is send money, nearly 40% of the users failed to send money to a phone number in app 1, while 20% of the users failed to complete this task on app 2. Respondents had difficulty finding the buttons very intuitively. Nearly 45% users misclicked in app 1, while 30% misclicked in app 2 throughout the journey. This was due to various reasons. Let me show you one flaw in design. I want you to focus on the left-hand side. You can see users clicking all over the place, denoted by the red box. There are too many distractions, resulting in around 24% misclicks, which was way lower for app 2, which had only 6% misclicks. They even spent 10 seconds lesser on app 2 in comparison to app 1. Such insights emerged through the usability testing throughout the user journey, which helped us create a design solution which was much more intuitive. As a part of this study, we created a whole new payment app. Introducing Apna Pay. Then we embarked on a journey to test whether it is actually inclusive for our cohort or not. Let's look at some evidences. So, as a part of the onboarding journey, there is a mandatory process to add debit card, input your debit card details. We found that this step was very difficult for these users to perform, so we know we had to solve for it. Users had to input the last 6 digits of their debit card number, and we saw a lot of drops here. Now you would notice it's so much easier to recite your phone number completely instead of spotting the 5th digit in your phone number, which is a very heavy cognitive task if you come to think of it. These apps made assumptions that the users would read the instructions, they would be able to spot the number from the middle, as you can see. So in Apna Pay, we did 2 experiments. One, we added visual cues of the card which could resemble the physical card. So here, the last 6 digits are highlighted. In the second experiment, in addition to all of this, we asked the users to simply write all the 16 digits of their card number. Believe me, it was way easier for them to input all the 16 digits compared to the last 6 digits. As you can see in experiment 2, we had a 100% success rate with way lesser misclicks and less time spent on the screen. In experiment 1, the cues guided the users, effectively cutting their time from 80 seconds to 30 seconds. Let's look at another example. In the race of becoming super apps, these payments apps are loaded with features after which the primary use case of sending money gets drowned. Keeping the users in mind, some key redesigns included, we made icons easier to decipher, using, instead of a phone or a diary to denote sending money to a phone number, we made a phone's keypad, which is what the natural interaction looks like. And it immediately signaled the purpose of the icon. We also converted the supporting text into more colloquial Hindi, phone number par paise bhejen, instead of formal phrasing, sampark par payment kare. We bucketed. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And we bucketed these functions also. So here you won't see any buckets, but here we bucketed to clearly outline what is the function of all the features under one section in one bucket: sending money, receiving money, and paying bills. So let's see what the click maps look like. As you can see, the click maps has, the misclicks have significantly reduced. Respondents were able to intuitively find and identify the correct icon, right? Usually these things are overlooked when you come to think of designing a particular app. So this new app performed way better compared to the 2 most popular apps, almost on all parameters, be it success rate, duration, misclicks, both in case of onboarding and sending money. So in the end, there are 3 key takeaways. One, by conducting a comprehensive usability test and semiotic analysis, one can make an app inclusive for the next billion. 2, while designing the app, keep the user at the center. 3, design should guide the user and not the other way around. Finally, I want to thank the larger team at Leapfrog Strategy Consulting and Bias for contributing and sponsoring this study. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mention experiment 1 versus experiment 2 for input of debit card numbers. Were these experiments sequential, or were they administered to samples?
No, those were not sequential. It was done with a separate set of similar audience. Yeah.
Second one being, when you say real-time analysis, how did you come across consumers who had planned to shop online and were ready to use the digital app to transact?
This was not done specifically for shopping purposes. Our intention was to at least solve for the first use case, which is merely sending money. So that was the main objective of this research.
So just for some context, we did this on the streets in Gurgaon in Haryana, and this helped us capture people in their natural environments. They would perform these tasks when they are leaving the shops or when they are stepping out of their homes. During that time, we were able to actually test these with them.
Thank you.